Welcome to the Geekcentric podcast, and welcome to our very special Behind the Geeks episode, where we talk to both the writer and the director of Marvel Studios' Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Love ya. Get home safe, guys. Peace.
Hello, I'm J-Law, but you can call me Justin. And yes, you heard me right. We had the opportunity recently to sit down with writer Michael Waldron and director Sam Raimi from the upcoming Marvel Studios movie, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I'm still pinching myself. And joining me, of course, for this interview, Kevin Hudson. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing well, man. I'm still trying to find the top of my head because it blew off when we got this opportunity, and actually sitting down with these two guys, what an experience.
Yeah, man, couldn't agree more. Thanks to our friends over at Disney Canada who helped set this up. They invited us to check out 20 minutes of footage, which was the same footage that was previewed at CinemaCon just last week. Plus, we got to attend the press conference earlier this afternoon, and we got this interview. So thank you to our friends at Disney Canada. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It was tons of fun. It really does show you too how down to earth they are. We always put filmmakers and even the actors too on such a high pedestal, and when we have these opportunities to just sit and talk to them, whether it be about the movie or just conversations in general as we get into the interview, it really does highlight just, again, they're just normal people. You know what I mean? I know that sounds really strange to say, but it's just a strange reminder. It's a strange reminder, the pun intended, that they're people, man, and they have like the same sort of quirks and interests as we do, as fans of all of this stuff. So it was great.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm easily starstruck. I'll be like, if I was in a grocery store and a guy from a Midas Speedy tire repair commercial was in the store, I'd be like, oh my God, that's the guy from the tire commercial. So to sit down with somebody, especially like Sam Raimi, we were nervous going into it, but it was so cool, man. They instantly started off before we even got into the interview, oh, Canada, yeah. Where in Canada are you from? And you let them know Toronto. And then I just slipped in because it's almost a habit for me, just a quick go Jays. And little did I know that would spawn a minute or two long conversation with the guys about baseball, and we're comparing team records, and they were boasting about how great the Blue Jays were, and that just put me instantly at ease. That made the rest of the interview that much easier because, it was like, okay, we're just chatting on the same level here. We're just, at the end of the day, we're all just big movie fans, big Marvel fans, and, we're just at different sides of the spectrum in terms of how we get to appreciate them, I think. But at the end of the day, yeah, man, we're all just fans of stuff, and that was awesome.
I think the biggest thing to anticipate, too, with people that work in this industry is a sense of ego, I think is the best way to describe it. And you don't get any of that from these two. They were just so fun and absolutely very approachable. It makes it comfortable for us to be able to talk to them, but also just makes you think, like, why was I nervous?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, why was I nervous, right? But before we get into the interview, we did have a chance to check out 20 minutes of footage. This is the same footage that was previewed at CinemaCon. I think it's safe to say that this is probably the opening. We can't say too much. We're going to save a lot of that for our spoiler-free reaction when that drops tomorrow at 9 a.m. The footage, what really stood out to me is just how big and epic and of course magical this movie is going to be. And, fans are in for a treat, like a visual treat that just, will captivate them. And I think, you were saying it as well when we kind of left. It's like, they only showed us 20 minutes, but in that 20 minutes, you can really see Sam Raimi's aesthetic, his filmmaking style, just its impressions in that 20 minutes. So, if that's anything, I think we're in for a treat for a 2-hour movie.
Well, and I love that. Well, because it's 2 hours, but also because we're just so deep into this story. It's just, let's go. Like, this movie wastes literally 0 seconds getting ready and starting up. You are just in it to win it. I will say, because we can't reveal what we actually did see, but a lot of what we saw is in the trailers, and that's very exciting because that just means that there's so much of the movie that isn't, in the trailers, obviously, because a lot of little moments that you can pick out from those trailers are in that first 20 minutes. And so it just means that there's so much more in store for audiences.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot more in store for audiences. With that, we also today before the interview we were able to sit down and attend the press conference, which was great. And a lot of the questions that were being asked, I liked some of the questions in and around, especially for Elizabeth Olsen talking about Wanda, because it has been so long since we've seen her since WandaVision. And just the idea of the next evolution of her character. And, I thought it was really great that, Elizabeth Olsen compared her as the lawyer to her character, representing her character and what feels right and what doesn't, and how that kind of, Sam Raimi also talked about it at the press conference, how it helped infuse new layers and actually kind of kept the script and the story kind of evolving. There were changes that kind of happened sometimes on the fly just because of how Elizabeth Olsen and apparently Benedict Cumberbatch were just very, understanding their characters and how they would approach these situations.
Well, we've done a few of these Marvel press conferences, and that does seem to be the one common theme that the directors keep going to. It's that nobody knows these characters better than the actors, and so it's really cool to hear how cohesive and how involved everyone is in the process, where you might have an idea on the page, but when it comes to filming, one of the actors might say, I don't think my character would do this, or say it that way. And they're so flexible and so willing to work and trust in these actors and what they know about the characters that they're able to change it on the fly, change it on the day of. That's so cool. And it just, you can always tell, especially today, I thought, in the press conference, you can tell how important these characters are to these actors and how much pride they put into conveying these characters the most honestly that they can.
Again, a huge standout from the footage and in this press conference was Xochitl Gomez, who's playing America Chavez. She shines so bright in this movie from what we've seen, and it's exciting. And to hear her in this press conference really talk about just trying to keep up with the sort of acting chops that is Benedict Cumberbatch, Elizabeth Olsen, and Benedict Wong, to kind of be able to embrace the fact that her character's 14 and not trying to push the age of her character or try to make her grow up so fast, really just kind of live in that moment as that character. But at the same time, she is learning from those other actors. She mentioned that, Elizabeth Olsen was a bit of a mentor to her. And honestly, I think that's really lovely. And I'm excited to see more of her in the Multiverse of Madness, but more so just in the MCU. And I'm really excited for what her character is going to bring. So, yeah.
Well, I definitely can see already that audiences are going to fall in love with this character. Because, we've only seen the first 20 minutes and we haven't spent that much time with this character. And we really don't even get to know much about this character. But she already feels familiar in just the brief time that we've spent with her so far. That was just, it was really well done. And so it's going to be really cool to see this movie, who this character is, where she comes from, why she is involved in everything that's going on. And Xochitl Gomez just does a great job of bringing so much life to this character.
Yeah, she is going to have a huge impact on the MCU. That much is certain. Anyways, I think we've gabbed on long enough. I think we should get to the interview. So, for your listening pleasure, here is our interview with writer Michael Waldron and director Sam Raimi. Enjoy.
Well, Michael, Sam, thank you so much for joining us here on Geekcentric today. We've only seen just a small snippet of the movie, but we are so excited to see the full picture and what you have in store for us. And I think we should just jump right in. From that early footage that we were fortunate enough to see, it seems as though we're going to be diving deeper into an understanding of what the multiverse is, how it works, and how it affects these characters' lives. When developing the film, Michael, how much of that was inspired by existing Marvel content like the comics versus how many of your own ideas were you able to include?
It's always a combination of the two. I think that you pick from the great multiverse stories out there. I think about Jonathan Hickman's great run. He's got a great multiverse run and everything. So you pick and choose because stuff from the comics is awesome. But I had also had some experience with the multiverse and Loki. And so I was trying to sort of continue that thread and then also align with what John Watts and Chris McKenna and Eric Summers had done and with the multiverse and Spider-Man No Way Home. So it's just a synthesis of the two.
Awesome. This question is for Sam Raimi. It feels like this film was always destined to feature more horror elements in it. And I know when it was announced that you, the Sam Raimi, would be helming this film, fans rejoiced as it was a bit of a confirmation that we would be getting those elements in this film. Now after a few trailers and having seen the opening of this film, I was wondering how did you find a way to kind of fuse those genre tropes within the world of Doctor Strange?
Well, it wasn't new to me to think about Doctor Strange and an element of horror. When Kevin announced that this was going to be Marvel's first entry into that genre, I thought it was very fitting because reading the Doctor Strange comic books, unlike Batman and Superman and Spider-Man who faced the bad guy, Doctor Strange was always this larger-than-life character that was protecting Earth and our universe from magical threats, demons, spirits. So there was always that element of spookiness. I wouldn't say a horror film, but creepiness, fun, scariness in the comics. So I thought it was great that he was going to bring that into the movie. So it's not something I had to even work on. I just had to service it as the director. Micah would write me spooky sequences, and I was only too glad to comply and try and deliver the goods.
Last question here. With all the craziness going on in the world, I know it can sometimes feel like, we're in a multiverse of madness ourselves. We wanted to ask, outside of making a movie that is probably so complicated, what do you do to relax other than watch baseball, of course?
He watches baseball and drinks.
That might bet on baseball.
We'd get along really well, Michael. We really would.
Yeah. And he reads comic books. And then I think he writes. That's his basic existence. What else am I missing?
I gamble.
Oh, yeah. Occasionally, yeah, he does.
What about you? What do you do?
I have a
watch baseball.
I do watch baseball. Yes, I do. I also play video games, though. So I'm a sucker for video games and still like reading and mostly the garden, though. I think I spend time in the garden.
But we gamble together some.
Absolutely. Yeah. He gives me tips.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for taking the time to join us here. We really appreciate it. It's an absolute honor to have the chance to just kind of talk to the creative minds behind this movie. Best of luck with the rest of the day as the press conference continues.
Thank you. And go Blue Jays.
Blue Jays.
Well, that's our interview with Michael Waldron and Sam Raimi. Again, I can't believe that we actually had this opportunity. Huge thanks to Disney Canada again for helping set this up. But yeah, I think just by kind of listening towards at least the last little bit there of the interview where they say "Go Jays," you know what I mean? You can see that they're very down to earth. So it's just, you know what I mean? Like they didn't have to inquire about where in Canada we were from, right? They kind of do these on the regular, and it was a topic of conversation. So I thought that was kind of cool towards the end there.
Oh, it's amazing because we only get 4 minutes to be with these people,
yeah.
Because they've got I don't know how many of these to do, right? They're going to be busy all day with it, and it was amazing that they took time before the interview even started to get to know us, and we ended up just finding one little commonality outside of the movie that we chatted about, to the point where they basically had to cut Sam Raimi off as he was wishing us well and wishing our baseball team well, just because that's how cool they were being with us and taking the time that they literally cut off Sam Raimi to move on to the next interview. They were just, like you said, man, so down to earth, so chill, and just so personable and easy to talk to. They made that was a pretty big deal. Like Sam Raimi's a household name, and here we are, just shooting the shit with him. It was awesome.
Well, as we grow here on the Geekcentric podcast, we're just presented with more opportunities, and we love nothing more than to talk to the people that make the stuff that we love. And this was an absolute honor to talk to, as I've said, like the writer of probably my favorite MCU Marvel Studios series thus far. And the director who in the press conference they dubbed, and I was thinking the same thing, the godfather of the modern superhero film, Sam Raimi. So it's like
even Benedict
can't ask,
even Benedict leaned over the Dawn, like Sam Raimi is so largely responsible for the fact that superhero movies are what they are today because of his work on Spider-Man, which is kind of cool that that's also canon now in the MCU. In its own way. You know what I mean? It's kind of cool.
In its own way. And I think I absolutely love how that's happening with the rumors of what we're to anticipate with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I think it's safe to say there could be more of that from other franchises and properties that we could see. Who knows? So only time will tell, but not that much time because we're going to be checking out this movie tonight with our spoiler-free review dropping tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Set your alarms, and we promise we will not spoil a single thing. We want you to have the single best experience. But come join us. Hear our thoughts. Hear if it lived up to the hype. So, anyways, until then, as we say,
get home safe, guys.
Peace.